What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some sweet closet doors like this. Pre-disclosure guys, my shop's not set up yet. It's the next project on the list, so bear with the safety infractions. The first step we're gonna do is we're gonna cut down the 3/4 inch 4x8 sheets of plywood backer that we'll be using. You wanna make sure you include the height of the door mounting hardware. The next step is to rip your decorative strips down to their proper width. For this I use my Kreg rip cut, but you could use a table saw if you have one. For this project, we chose a 1/2 inch maple plywood for the decorative pieces. Altogether, I found out that we actually needed about 2.5 4x8 sheets of the maple veneer plywood to cover both doors. Overall, this was probably the most monotonous task of the project. Just remember to be safe when you're doing repetitive tasks and watch what you're doing. Alright, so now that we got all our strips ripped, we are going to cut the 45-degree angles and we're going to get everything laid out on this board. After that, we'll glue it all down. Alright, so since you've seen the opening video, you know what the design's going to be like. We're doing a diamond in the center. So what we need to do to accomplish that is we've scribed a line in the exact center of this. This line is super important. You need it to be perpendicular. Then we cut all our stuff, our decorational boards on the miter saw. What we're going to do now is we're going to nail and glue each one of them. I'm going to just lay these out and I'm going to make sure that 45-degree that we cut is perfectly parallel to this. Okay, so we have a line scribed down the center of this board. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to apply glue to our face down side. We're going to flip it over. We're going to get this perfectly in line with our line. And we're gonna do both sides and work our way back. And we're also gonna tack it down with a brad nailer. You might wanna use micro pins. I think I'll be able to wood fill it fine. Now is a good time to mention that I left all of the decorative pieces overhanging the backer board around the edges. When we get all of the pieces attached, we'll be able to make a nice flush edge by cutting it with the saw. Alright guys, so last night we finished gluing this up. I highly recommend really watching where you get your glue. I don't know if you all can see this, but there's like white streaks from where I wiped the glue. It will sand out, I have figured out, which is good, but that's just like more work you have to do, so try to be clean if you can. You'll notice we left some overhang. We're just gonna trim that off with the circular saw later. Here I'm just cutting up and placing more strips. Alright, so we got all these cut to the correct angles. I left a little overhang on each side. We'll clean those up with a miter saw later. Now all we have left is to glue and brad nail them down. For this project, we're using the Titebond 2. I really like the Titebond 2. It gives you a little more working time. You also want to make sure you spread your glue around really good so you get a solid lamination. I ended up using just about 3/4 of the gallon on my project. I was doing 2 4x8 doors pretty much, so you'll have to come up with how much glue you think you'll need for your project. Here I'm using 1 inch
brad nails to secure the boards down. And please keep in mind that I'm putting glue on each board. I just don't show it every time in the video. This is me finishing up the right side. It's basically just the same as finishing up the left side. Just be careful, like I said, not to get glue on the outside if you can help. So I'm using my AccuCut here to cut the excess pieces and straighten up the edges. It's important to note that I flipped this upside down to do this. You can use a straight edge or anything to make a straight cut, but I happen to have the AccuCut. I would also recommend that you let your door dry prior to doing this, or you're gonna get glue everywhere.
What's up, guys? If you're enjoying today's content and you want to see more videos about us renovating our new house, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, as well as the like button. That way it helps our channel grow and it helps you know when we're releasing more content, so you can be the first to watch. Alright guys, so I just bought some wood filler that is a close match to this wood color, as close as I could get it. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just filling like the super large gaps that formed from variances when I was cutting. So I'm not worrying about all the gaps. It's wood, it's just the way it's gonna be.
I'm just cleaning up all of the glue stains that I've been talking about. If you can avoid this, I'd really recommend it. It would save a lot of time.
So the next thing we got is we got 1x2. We're gonna trim out the door with 1x2. So I've got this one finished. Basically the idea is this is where you're gonna be able to like grip onto it and open and close the door. So with that, let's install our 1x2s.
I decided to add glue on the handle 1x2s to give it some more rigidity from people opening and closing it. I fasten these by using some brad nails, and you're gonna wanna do this for the top, side, and bottom. I chose not to do the top because we're gonna put our mounting hardware straight into the 3/4 inch plywood.
We're just gonna use a synthetic bristle brush, preferably a nicer one, to apply some water-based polyurethane. I want this thing to have a real natural finish. I don't like the yellow stain the oil-based leaves. It was a little more expensive, but it's all good. Alright guys, so I followed the polyurethane's instructions. It is now dry enough to sand, so we're gonna lightly sand it with some 220. It'll feel kind of rough right now when you feel it. So we're gonna knock down all those ridges made from the paintbrush and the wood grain and everything. And so the next layer of poly will be super smooth and we'll be done.
You're looking to sand it just enough to get the surface texture smooth. You don't want to sand through to bare wood. Another thing is the polyurethane's gonna appear rather cloudy after you sand it. This is perfectly normal and it'll clear up after you apply your second coat. You're next gonna wanna remove all of the dust from the sanding. You can do this by vacuuming and tack clothing, which is the method I chose. Here we're just putting on our last coat of polyurethane. It should be smooth as silk when you're done with this coat.
So at this point I have a confession to make, guys. I failed to video how we hung these up. It was so heavy and it was just me and my dad, and he really hates being in the videos. So I didn't get hanging them on video. I'm gonna take you step by step how to do it and what hardware we used. The most important thing you wanna make sure of is you wanna make sure your hardware is capable of holding that much weight. For example, our hardware was rated for 150 pounds and each one of these doors is probably like around 100 and 120 pounds. So we're good to go there. So mounting these up, super simple. We put a 2x4 up here. Then you have your track hardware. This is a Johnson brand. And then these little tracks just slide in here. Once you get all that installed, the doors via this clip right here gets installed on top of the doors. And once this piece is on top of the doors, you just lift the door up and set it on the slider, and then there you have it. So a super quick lesson learned. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes I made. I'm gonna have to probably take these doors down at some point and rectify my mistake. But you wanna make sure that your 2x4 and your rolling track is super level. In this case, mine is not level, so when I go to shut this door, it will slide open slightly. So that's just something I'm gonna have to fix. Live and learn from your mistakes, but I'm telling you right now, don't make this one because I already did for you. What do you think, bub? You approve of the closet doors?
Yes, I like the new closet doors. They're very fancy and modern.
If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more videos of us building custom furniture, renovating the house, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also the like button. It really will help the channel grow. Thanks, guys.